There's been a debate recently on...
I think people, I don't understand this, but well, first of all, I think we can all agree there's a lot of misinformation.
We hosted our own event, and admittedly, it was a little bit of a warehouse. It wasn't nearly what we have today.
Hey there, future millionaires. Welcome back to the channel. It's great to have you here with me again. I really hope you're crushing it today, no matter where you're watching from around this amazing world of ours. Now, let me tell you what we're diving into today, and trust me, this is something you're going to want to hear about. We're talking XRP, and I've got some news that could be absolutely game-changing. Here's what's got me excited. Ripple might be getting their very own banking charter. And if that happens, we could be looking at XRP hitting $10 faster than you think. Why? Because this could unleash a tsunami of institutional demand like we've never seen before. So stick around because we're about to break down exactly what this means for your portfolio. Okay, here's the bombshell I need you to pay attention to. This is huge. Industry insiders just spotted something incredible. Ripple's name has officially appeared in the office of the comptroller of the currency registry. And get this, they're listed as Ripple National Trust Bank. Let me break down what this actually means for us. If Ripple becomes a full-fledged bank, they're not just playing in the cross-border payments game anymore, they're owning it. Think about it. We could literally see bank branches with the Ripple name on them. That's how legit this could get. Now you're probably wondering the same thing I am. How fast would this send XRP's price through the roof? Here's my take. Initially, we'd probably see an explosive 20 to 30% jump right out of the gate. But here's the kicker. That's just the beginning. This isn't a pump and dump situation. We're talking about long-term, sustained value growth that keeps building momentum over time. This is the kind of fundamental shift that doesn't just move prices, it changes the entire game. Ripple has supported the idea of creating skinny Federal Reserve accounts. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Stuart Alderati, he's Ripple's chief legal officer, just dropped some major insights in a recent interview with Reuters. He said something that caught my attention. Even a skinny master account would be a game changer for Ripple. And here's why that matters so much. He believes this would give traditional banks the confidence they've been waiting for. Now, you might be wondering, what the heck is a skinny master account? Don't worry, I've got you covered. Think of a Federal Reserve master account as the VIP club of banking. It's basically the core account that the Fed gives to banks and other financial institutions. And when you have one of these golden tickets, you get access to some pretty incredible perks. You can send and receive massive wholesale payments using the Fed's own payment systems. We're talking about FedNow and other high-level infrastructure. But here's the best part. All your transactions settle in actual central bank money. That's as legitimate and rock-solid as it gets in the financial world. So when Alderati talks about this being attractive for Ripple, he's talking about joining the absolute top tier of financial institutions. Now here's the beautiful part. Even with a skinny account, there's just one limitation. Ripple wouldn't be able to actually borrow money directly from the Federal Reserve. But honestly, that doesn't even matter. They'd still have the power to move central bank money around, and that's exactly what Ripple has been aiming for from day one. This is their bread and butter, moving money across borders seamlessly. So even if they only get this limited version of a master account, they're still hitting a home run. Why? Because it perfectly aligns with Ripple's master plan in the cross-border payment space. Think about it. Ripple doesn't need to be in the business of borrowing Fed money. What they want is to be the highway that money travels on between countries. And a skinny master account gives them exactly that access. This is why I'm so bullish on this development. Ripple is staying laser-focused on what they do best, and now they're getting the regulatory stamp of approval to do it at the highest level. US crypto exchange launches XRP Derivatives in Europe. This is also big because this is for the first time. All right, here's another piece of exciting news that just dropped. Gemini just made a huge move in Europe. They've added XRP perpetual contracts to their European derivatives platform. Now this might sound technical, but let me tell you why this is actually massive. This is the very first time that this major American exchange has offered leveraged XRP products to traders in Europe. They're doing this through their Malta-based entity, which is pretty smart positioning. And get this, traders can now go long or short on XRP with up to 100x leverage. We're talking serious firepower here, settled in USDC with no expiration dates. That's flexibility at its finest. I honestly think this is going to build serious momentum over time. But here's what's really fascinating. Everyone's been laser-focused on what's happening in the US, and I get it. For 4 long years, we saw basically nothing happening here. Now suddenly it feels like everything's exploding in America all at once. But here's what people are missing. The expansion isn't just happening in the US. We're seeing massive growth globally, and there's a reason for that. What we're witnessing right now is an all-out competition. Every country, every exchange, every platform is fighting to position themselves as the crypto leader. The big question is, who's going to come out on top when the dust settles?
Don't sleep on XRP. CoinFund President Perkins says, so he says he's not.
Look, I'm not here telling you to buy XRP, and I'm definitely not telling you to avoid it either. What I am telling you is this: do your own research. That's on you. But here's the point I really want to drive home. You absolutely cannot afford to sleep on Ripple and XRP right now. Industry experts are saying the same thing I've been noticing. Just look at the incredible growth we've witnessed, and I'm not just talking about recent months. I'm talking about all the way back through the brutal bear market of 2022 and 2023, during the entire crypto crackdown when everyone was running scared. What was Ripple doing? They were expanding like crazy all around the world while everyone else was hiding. And now here we are in 2025, and guess what? It's announcement after announcement, not just for Ripple, but massive expansion for XRP as well. So here's my question for you. How do you possibly sleep on a cryptocurrency like this? How do you not stack up on XRP, especially when we get these red days? You know what kills me? Every single time the market turns red, people start saying, it's over for XRP. Are you kidding me? It is absolutely not over for XRP. In fact, XRP is just getting warmed up. Wait until this thing really starts to break out. And I'm telling you, when it happens, you're going to wish you paid attention to what's happening right now. The FOMO is going to be insane. Good thing Joel Katz has already chimed in on this topic. Okay, this is wild. We now have something called a quantum doomsday clock. And let me tell you, this sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, but it's very real. Here's the scary part. According to this clock, quantum computers will have the power to crack and steal all your crypto keys by March 8th, 2028, at exactly 11:23 in the morning. I'm not making this up. They've literally counted it down to the second. So here's where we stand right now. You've got exactly 2 years, 4 months, 2 days, 19 hours, 19 minutes, and 9 seconds to make sure your crypto is quantum proof. Now, before you start panicking, let me put this in perspective. This isn't some overnight disaster that's going to hit us tomorrow, but it is a real deadline that the crypto world needs to take seriously. The question is, are the projects you're invested in already thinking about this? Are they preparing for the quantum threat? Because the ones that are ahead of the curve on quantum proofing their technology, those could be the real winners when this timeline starts getting closer. Now, here's where things get really interesting, and honestly, pretty reassuring if you're holding XRP. David Schwartz just dropped some major insights about this whole quantum situation, and XRP holders might actually be sitting pretty here. First piece of good news. If you've got a cold wallet that only holds XRP and you've never made any transactions with it, guess what? You're already quantum resistant. Just by doing nothing, you're protected. But it gets even better. He explained that if you disable your master key and set up a new regular key, your account becomes quantum resistant until your next transaction. And here's the cool part. After you make that transaction, you can just change the key again. It's like having a reset button for security. And here's my favorite part. This is where XRP really shines compared to other blockchains. Once quantum-resistant algorithms get deployed on the XRP ledger, you won't need to create some brand new receiving address to stay protected. Your existing account can just be resecured. How convenient is that? Schwartz also confirmed that the entire XRP ledger will be quantum resistant. Look, I wanted to share this update because everyone's freaking out about quantum computers potentially stealing Bitcoin within the next couple years. But honestly, if you're holding XRP, I don't think you need to lose sleep over this quantum threat. XRP seems to have this covered. All right, this is pretty exciting. This comes from Eleanor Terrett, and you know how she always gets the best crypto interviews. She just sat down with Brad Garlinghouse at the Crypto in America event, and honestly, you knew someone was going to capture this conversation and share it with us. So let's dive in and hear what Brad had to say.
Brad, there's been a debate recently on crypto Twitter. I'm sure you've seen some of it play out about XRP's use case now that Ripple does have RLUSD as its stablecoin, and you're branching out from cross-border payments into other areas. Yeah. You recently did say in a tweet, XRP sits at the center of everything Ripple does. Can you kind of explain what you meant by that?
Well, I think I don't understand this, but well, first of all, I think we can all agree there's a lot of misinformation and sometimes disinformation in crypto Twitter.
Yeah.
That's not great for anybody. I don't I sometimes think people like to paint a picture that is somehow like Ripple's given up on XRP.
Right.
I mean, that just doesn't make sense. Like, I mean, for a whole bunch of reasons. I mean, one is
Clear it up.
well, for me, that tweet was trying to like, let's just be very clear. When we think about, and as I said earlier, when we think about G Treasury, okay, so Ripple wants to be as a treasury management infrastructure player, we now can introduce things like Ripple payments. Ripple payments, some of those go through stablecoins, some of them goes through XRP. And that depends upon corridor, that depends upon currency pair, we want to deliver the best possible product to a customer at the best price. And sometimes that may be a stable coin, sometimes it may not. And people, I mean, frankly, something that's not widely known for your audience. There was a period of time where Ripple was minting in 2023, first part of 2023, Ripple was minting 20% of all USDC. That's because we were doing institutional payment flows and we used USDC. We also used USDT. We also used XRP. I don't look at the world and say, well, we are not XRP maximalists. There's going to be different chains for different solutions and different technologies. I think we have to start, and I mean this for, when I say we, I mean the whole crypto industry has to start with what problem and for what customer are we solving? Mm-hmm. If we just try to, it's like, hey, I have a technology and I just want to apply it to a customer. It's like, well, a customer doesn't think about it that way. A customer has a problem. How do we apply the right technologies? Yeah. XRP is very scalable, very fast, and very inexpensive on a per transaction basis. That makes it good for some things and probably less good for other things. That's okay. And Ripple will use other technologies in those situations. But if Ripple can go from, managing tens of billions of dollars of payment transactions to hundreds of billions of dollars of payments transactions to trillions of dollars, and if XRP doesn't have 100% of that pie, but the pie is growing very quickly, like that's great. I'm happy. That's a really good place to be.
Mm-hmm. So
here's what Brad is really telling us. And this is crucial to understand. It's not always going to be just about XRP. But here's where it gets interesting. As Ripple continues to grow and push innovation forward, most of their customers right now are obsessed with stablecoins. That's where all the hype is, right? But then Ripple comes in and says, hey, what if you used XRP instead of that stablecoin? You'd get even faster speeds and even cheaper costs. Now, what do you think people are going to choose? Come on, they're going to pick the cheapest and fastest solution every single time. But here's where it gets really fascinating. Even with all these stablecoins floating around, you still have to move them across borders. And guess what? You're often moving them between completely different companies because now everyone and their brother is creating their own stablecoin. And here's the kicker. Nobody wants to accept someone else's stablecoin. So you still need a bridge to connect them all. This is exactly where XRP is going to absolutely dominate. Think about it. If you're moving from a US digital dollar to a digital euro, you're definitely going to need that bridge currency. Same thing between China and Russia, China and India, you name it. But it goes even deeper than that. Picture this. You're going from a JP Morgan coin to a Goldman Sachs coin. Boom! You need a bridge right there too. This is why we're going to see massive XRP liquidity pools set up between all these banks and countries. It's going to be the universal connector. Brad's absolutely right about one thing, though. It's not going to be one coin to rule them all. We're looking at a handful of cryptocurrencies that will literally rule the world. You know what? I don't think most people truly grasp just how massive Ripple Prime is going to be. This isn't just another business venture. This is game-changing stuff. Listen to what Michael Arrington from Arlington Capital just said. It's not only going to be a huge business, it gives hedge funds like us unparalleled new tools to engage with markets. Getting on board has been one of our highest priorities at Arlington Capital for the last few months. Now, when Michael Arrington talks, you need to pay attention. This guy has been making payments using XRP for years. He's not some newcomer jumping on the bandwagon. So when he says Ripple Prime is a very big deal, trust me, it's a very big deal. And this momentum is just getting started. But here's what's really exciting. Look at what else is happening right now. We're seeing companies create XRP treasuries left and right. And here's the brilliant part. These aren't just liquidity pools in the traditional sense. These companies aren't buying XRP thinking, oh, I'll sell when the price goes up. No way. They're buying it and locking it away for the long haul. They're taking XRP completely out of circulation for extended periods. So picture this scenario. More and more XRP keeps leaving circulation while demand keeps climbing higher and higher. We all know exactly where that leads, right? Basic economics. When supply shrinks and demand explodes, there's only one direction prices can go.
Exactly. Higher XRP prices. That's where all of this is heading. Now, this next clip is absolutely gold. It comes from Black Swan Capitalist, and it's Brad Garlinghouse giving a speech at Ripple Swell. You're going to want to hear what he has to say about this.
Swift wouldn't let us attend Sibos. Some people don't know. It's a true story. We couldn't get space, a booth at Sibos. And so we decided, this is in Toronto, and we decided, Sibos, the land of big banks, we were the disruptors, literally. So we went down the street. We hosted our own event, and admittedly, it was a little bit of a warehouse. It wasn't nearly what we have today, but it was anchored by speakers like Ben Bernanke. And I think very quickly, Swift regretted their decision because they created more of a monster by pushing us out. Well, 9 years later, the world looks profoundly different. Some of the biggest financial institutions in the world are here in this room with us, but it's not just them. We have the prime brokers, the application builders, the investment banks, the ETF issuers, as we just discussed, and everyone in between. Crypto and blockchain have moved from being taboo words to being part of the fabric of society.
Did you catch what Brad just revealed? This is huge. Swift actually pushed Ripple away because they saw them as disruptors. And you know what? That rejection is exactly what led to the creation of Ripple Swell. Now, here's what's absolutely mind-blowing. Every single year, just look at the guest list for Ripple Swell. We're talking about companies that literally rule the world. The biggest names in finance, the most powerful institutions on the planet. And the fact that they keep showing up year after year, that tells you everything you need to know. These giants aren't just window shopping. They're actively looking for an alternative to Swift. Think about it. A lot of these massive institutions are already betting on Ripple as their Swift replacement. Why? Because they're completely fed up with Swift's outdated system. Here's the reality. Swift's own customers are frustrated with Swift. The delays, the costs, the inefficiencies, they've had enough. And that's exactly why we're going to witness Ripple's massive rise over time. When the world's most powerful financial institutions are looking for a way out of Swift, and they keep coming back to Ripple Swell year after year, you know something big is brewing. This isn't just speculation anymore. This is institutions voting with their feet and their wallets. Bank of England pledges to keep pace with US on stablecoin regulations. What have I been hammering home to you guys? It's all about keeping pace with the rest of the world. Every single country wants to become the crypto hub, the undisputed crypto capital of the world. But here's the thing. You can't have a patchwork of different regulations from country to country when you're trying to do cross-border payments. It just doesn't work. That's why we're seeing this massive global rush to get proper regulations in place as fast as humanly possible. And here in the US, as soon as the government reopens, I'm expecting crypto regulations to drop within just a few weeks. This is going to be huge. Think about what's all going to hit at the same time. XRP ETFs, ISO 20022 implementation, possibly even that Ripple banking license and Fed master account we talked about. Everything is happening in this incredibly compressed time frame. But here's what drives me crazy. People are so fixated on XRP's price right this second. Listen, you need to zoom out. Where is XRP going to be a month from now? 2 months? 3 months? If you think XRP is going to peak in January, I hate to break it to you, but I think you're completely wrong. I believe XRP is going to keep running strong. We're talking at least through May or June of next year. Why? Because look at the demand we're already seeing, and regulations are about to greenlight this entire space for institutions. It's going to be like opening the floodgates. You're not just going to see massive inflows in month 1. Those inflows are going to keep coming wave after wave. Plus, institutions are going to be rolling out all kinds of new products and options. Now throw in the tokenization boom that's coming too. Seriously, how in the world does XRP crash back under $1 like some people are predicting? Oh, it'll run up to $27 and then crash all the way back down under $1. Come on. I'm just not seeing that scenario play out at all.
Oh, and I had to share this gem from Alex Cobb. This one cracked me up. He just posted checkmate Solana. Because you know that whole battle between XRP and Solana is still raging on. Love the confidence here. So you see Western Union, $2.84 billion. Now here's something that puts everything in perspective. We know Ripple is working with MasterCard, and we're talking about a company worth $495 billion here. Just think about that for a second. What a massive difference that partnership represents for Ripple's credibility and reach. And that's exactly what Ripple is doing. They're going after the big money. They're not chasing small remittance payments. Don't get me wrong, Ripple can absolutely handle remittances, and we're already seeing tons of them happening on the XRP ledger. But that's not their main target. They're going after the massive opportunities, the derivatives market, institutional custody, huge cross-border payments, and tokenization. We're talking about trillion-dollar markets here. Now, I keep seeing people say that Solana is the future. Look, I'll be honest with you. Solana will most likely fade into the background along with Bitcoin at some point. Why? Because like I always tell you guys, technology keeps pushing forward. Innovation never stops. And that's exactly what we're witnessing right now. But to think that Solana is going to be the XRP killer? Come on, that's just absolutely ridiculous. Yet every single day I see people making this claim, and I honestly don't get it. But you know what I always say? Until everything plays out, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. All right, future millionaires, that's a wrap for today's video. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. I seriously appreciate all of you. I'll catch you in the next one. Have an amazing night, and remember, keep stacking that XRP.